Biotechnology Principles and Processes Part 2. In this video, you will be learning about the tools that aid in recombinant DNA technology. Now let us look into tools of recombinant DNA technology. Inserting the desired gene into the genome of the host is not as easy as it sounds. It involves the selection of the desired gene for administration into the host cell, followed by a selection of the perfect vector with which the gene has to be integrated and recombinant DNA formed. This recombinant DNA then has to be introduced into the host, and at last it has to be maintained in the host and carried forward to the offspring. A recombinant DNA technology can be complete and achieved with the help of some elemental tools. The different tools would be: one is the restriction enzymes. The enzymes, which include the restriction endonucleases, help to cut the polymerases and help to synthesize, and ligases help to bind. The restriction endonucleases used in recombinant DNA technology play a major role in determining the location at which the desired gene is inserted into the vector genome. There are two types, namely endonucleases and exonucleases. The endonucleases cut within the DNA strand, whereas exonucleases cut the nucleotides from the end of the DNA strand. The restriction endonucleases are sequence specific, which is usually a palindrome sequence, and cuts the DNA at specific points. They scrutinize the length of DNA and make the cut at specific site called restriction site. This gives rise to sticky ends in the sequence. The desired genes and the vectors are cut by the same restriction enzymes to obtain the complementary sticky notes, thus making the work of ligases easy to bind to the desired gene to the vectors. Help in carrying and integrating the desired gene. These form a very important part of the tools of recombinant DNA technology, as they are the ultimate vehicles that carry forward the desired gene into the host organism. Plasmids and bacteriophages are the most common vectors in recombinant DNA technology that are used, as they have very high copy number. Host organism is the organism into which the recombinant DNA is introduced. The host is the ultimate tool of recombinant DNA technology, which takes in the vector engineered with the desired DNA with the help of enzymes. There are a number of ways in which this recombinant DNAs are inserted into the host, namely microinjections, biolistics or gene gun, alternate cooling and heating, use of calcium ions, etc. So now let us look at the nomenclature of restriction enzymes. The convention for naming these enzymes is the first letter of the name comes from the genus, and the second and third the two letters come from the species of the prokaryotic cell from which they were isolated. For example, the enzyme EcoR1 comes from E stands for Escherichia and CO stands for coli, and RY13. In EcoR1, the letter R is designated the name of the strain from which the enzyme has been isolated. Roman numbers following the names indicate the order in which the enzymes were isolated from that strain of bacteria. Restriction enzymes belong to a larger class of enzymes called the nucleases. Now let us look into what is a cloning vector. A vector is a DNA molecule that is used to carry a foreign DNA into the host cell. It has the ability to self-replicate and integrate into the host cell. These vectors have helped in analyzing the molecular structure of DNA. Vectors can be a plasmid from the bacterium, a cell from the higher organism, or DNA from a virus. The target DNA is inserted into the specific sites of the vector unligated by DNA ligase. The vector is then transformed into the host cell for replication. Now, what are the features of cloning vectors? A cloning vector should possess an origin of replication so that it can self-replicate inside the host cell. It should have a restriction site for the insertion of the target DNA. It should have a selectable marker with an antibiotic resistance gene that facilitates screening of the recombinant organism. It should be small in size so that it can easily integrate into the host cell. It should be capable of inserting a large segment of DNA. It should possess multiple cloning sites, and it should be capable of working under the prokaryotic and eukaryotic systems. Now let us look at the type of cloning vehicles or the vectors. First one is the plasmid. So these were the first vectors used in gene cloning. Plastids are found in bacteria, eukaryotes and archaea. They are natural extra chromosomal self-replicating DNA molecules. They have a high copy number and possess antibiotic resistant genes. They encode proteins which are necessary for their own replication. PBR322, PUC18, F plasmid are some of the examples of plasmid vectors. Bacteriophages, are the viruses that infect bacteria. These are more efficient than plasmids for cloning large DNA inserts. Phage lambda and M13 phage are commonly used bacteriophages in gene cloning. 53 kb DNA can be packaged in the bacteriophage. The screening of phage plaques is much easier than screening of recombinant bacterial colonies. The next vector would be a phagimid. These are artificial vectors. They are used in combination with M13 phage. They possess multiple cloning sites and an inducible lac gene promoter. They are identified by blue-white screening. Bacterial artificial chromosomes are similar to E. coli plasmid vectors. They are obtained from naturally occurring F plasmid. They are used to study genetic disorders. They can accommodate large DNA sequences without any risk. Other cloning vectors would include yeast artificial chromosomes, cosmids, retroviral vectors, human artificial chromosomes. Cloning vectors are used to insert foreign DNA into another cell and create multiple copies of the same. The foreign DNA is duplicated and expressed utilizing the host cell machinery. It amplifies one copy of DNA into multiple copies.